Hello and welcome to MFCP Woodworking. My name is John. Today we're going to build a little tool or a little jig that will help you in your lathe work for making tenons. I've watched a lot of videos online for professional wood turners. Online professional wood turners that make their videos, show their stuff much like what I do with my wood turning. They do something that I find is a little inefficient as far as production goes. I have worked in a large wood turning manufacturer before, and we did use what we call a go, no-go, a jig that's made just to measure one measure. What I see them using on the sites, and it's fine, it's very accurate to do it this way, is to use a caliper, or to use the lathe calipers inside or outside for measuring tenons. The only thing is if you have a whole bunch of different size tenons to do while you're working at the same time, for example, you have a project that has several different tenons, you're either adjusting your calipers all the time, or you've got a whole pile of calipers preset at different levels. What I make is called a tenon gauge. This is a little one. Basically, you take a very thin piece of wood here, preferably hardwood. This is softwood because I'm just doing them fast and dirty. If you want to make them last forever, make them out of aluminum or brass or something like that, it's up to you. You drill a row of holes on it on a center line according to the sizes of the tenons that you want to have gauged for, that you make regularly, and then you cut it in half to produce a half thing. When you're working on the lathe, you can take this and fit this over the tenon. When the tenon's right, it will go down onto it. And the beauty of that is that this tenon will fit into the same hole that a hole that's drilled with the same bit that you use to make the jig with. Now I do have one. This is softwood because it'll work. I also had something here that I tested the other day. I had some misgivings. I thought it would tear too much, but I really think I'm going to be able to produce good enough with this. And this is this very dense, hard cardboard they use for corners on furniture for shipping. It's almost as hard as MDF or a medium density fiberboard. I'm going to make one out of this because, as you can see, it worked. It did drill clean enough and accurately enough for me to be able to use this as a gauge. The sizes that we're going to be using is 1.5, which is a very big tenon, 1.25, 1 inch, 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/4 inch. Now, if you have different preferences in your sizes that you want to make yours out of, feel free to use different bits of different size. The size bit doesn't matter. Spade bits are not a great choice. I can't control it with a hand drill to make an accurate enough hole, so we're going to use a drill press to do that. I was able to drill a clean hole with the 1 inch bit, but I had it drifted off center. So we're going to do it all on a drill press, which is a little bit more work, but I want an accurate enough tool that that's not going to be an issue. So with that, let's head on down to the shop and make this thing. Okay, I'm in my makeshift shop here, freezing to death, heavy gloves on. I don't recommend that when you're working with machines, but we have no choice. Our fingers get too cold if we don't. What we're doing right here, right now, is making our holes in the drill press on this jig. As you can see, I've already drilled one hole. I wanted to make sure that my setup was straight enough, was stable enough. Because the hole needs to be clean. It can't be vibrating around in the hole because it'll make it too wide and you won't get an accurate hole. I'm cutting 3 at the same time. So the in-between one is the cardboard. It comes out clean enough but I want to make sure of it, so I sandwiched it in there. It cuts through to the waste material and we're clean. So I'm going to turn this on. I've already done the 1.5 inch hole. That was a tough one. That was the one that was most likely to give me trouble for stability. So this one, we're turning it on. You can see my point is not perfect. I get this. And we're through the cardboard. And we did suffer a little damage on the one there. Not a big deal. Turn it off. We're going to move this one. And we got to take the bit out. Okay. Now we're moving into something that works a little bit more safely. Is Forstner bits. They do have a wider shank. These ones, there's less vibration involved. Less chance of damage to the work. Try to get this all centered. I want them on that center line so that when we break it apart, it works well. And we have a problem. I have to get the table up, which is a problem because this table doesn't adjust. Oh, we're right in there. Okay, we're lucky because we're just deep enough. We get to change it again. My worry is that my last one's a little bit isn't as long as the others. This is what happens when the table adjustment on the machine is broken. As you can see, we're back in the craft room, slash music room, slash everything room for my wife. And we have our tenon gauges cut. It did get easier after the part you saw. We had to clamp down for the bigger holes because with spade bits, there's a lot of vibration involved. They don't run perfectly true. And to get a clean hole, things can't move. With the smaller ones, it was easier. The smaller Forstner bits, I could have done that with a hand drill and had them lined up. But we had the drill press. We got them about as perfectly lined up as can be. And as you can see, I have 3 pieces here. This one is going to be split down here and made into 2 gauges. We labeled it 1.5, 1 1/4, 1 inch, 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1/4 inch. Those are the different sizes that I've got on this gauge. You don't have to use these sizes. You can do it metric, you can do it your own style, whatever you happen to be using for drill bits or for sizing your tenons. Your tenon holes are usually made with a drill bit. I use the same bits to make the holes in the gauge. So once they're split off, I've got also the cardboard one, which is also a success. As you can see, it cut nice and clean. And what I'm doing now is I'm using the knife here to separate the 2 sides. And I am just about there. You ought to be careful with a box cutter knife. They can do a lot more damage than a lot of people think. I have seriously cut myself with one before. As you can see, I now have 2 gauges. This one is also labeled. The way to use this on the lathe, while your piece is in the lathe, even if you're between centers on spindles, this is half of your tenon. It will fit over top of the appropriately sized tenon. It will not go all the way down until it's small enough. You can see my stubby finger there is about 1 inch in diameter. That's a 1 inch thing. You see it slips down on there. If I try to go lower, it doesn't go down on. It gets stuck before it goes down. And that's how you would use this gauge. And it's got a whole bunch of different sizes on it for you to use. As you can see, this cardboard is a success. I don't know how long it'll last. It'll last me long enough till I make something better. Same with the regular construction 2x4. It's not great wood. It can chip. It doesn't make a perfect thing. It's not going to last forever. It's not real hardwood. If you use a really quality hardwood, they can last quite a long time. You can make them out of aluminum or brass. They'll last even longer. You can buy them if you want. The one that's not split in half, because I'm only going to split one of them. I'm going to split this one. This one's not going to be split, and I'm going to use it for carved tenons. I am planning a project to make a computer desk stand out of green wood. I've done this kind of work before. I will harvest the wood. I will carve all the tenons to fit holes that I drill in it to make all the joints on the base for this desk, the sides, the entire frame. The only thing that won't be tenoned will be a top, which will be made out of shelving material, probably just pine shelving material from the store, something you can buy dimensional lumber straight up. Put it together, make a nice panel, make a nice desktop. We can paint it white, we can leave it natural. All depends. I think it makes good stuff. These for me though are extremely handy. I've used them for most of my career working with a lathe. I find them easier to use than the expensive calipers. I want the expensive calipers. They are needed for highly accurate work, but for most of my tenon work, these work just fine. You'll probably find exactly the same thing. Easy to use, inexpensive. They're not that hard to make, especially if you have a drill press. And that's my tip for the day. Now, if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you like my work, please subscribe. I should be showing a panel here showing you my tips playlist. I will try to put it on. I'm not real experienced with it, but I'm looking forward to getting that there because I do have some other tips already on my channel, and there will be more coming. Things that I see that I don't see other people doing that much that I find can be useful. I mean, regular tips that everybody uses, I'm not going to bother you with. I might do my own tip video in the future just because I like to have a complete library. But I like to focus on the stuff that other people aren't focusing on. So if you like my video, again, like, subscribe, notify, share, tell your friends. And you have a good day. Thanks for watching.